Are you clicking it or?
Wait.
It's okay, nobody knows anything.
And we are live. Guys, we are live.
We are live.
Stop. I will say again. And we are live. Okay, we are live for sure. I just
the video is not live. It's just
everything is live. I think that we can start our AMA. But first of all, I would like to say, guys, so sorry for our previous try, because actually when I was looking for those YouTube streamers, sometimes they're late for 40 minutes. They're saying about some problems. I never was understanding why it's that. Is it hard just to press that button? But believe me, anything can happen. Really strange things are happening sometimes. So I feel a little bit more smarter, and I feel the pain of those who are streaming each day and why they're buying so cool all the equipment. So should we just start by introducing ourselves?
Yeah. So I think, Robertas, you wanted to jump in first, and then we'll get Yaro speaking in the
Is it time now, or should we wait a couple minutes more?
I think we
What
start.
do you want to do, guys?
Joining us. Well, they already know us. Our core community. They know who we are.
All right.
I think that we can start. Yeah.
Because it's 5 minutes early. But if you want to start, let's do that.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, guys. So let's intro. My name is Robert. I'm one of the earliest member in Mysterium Network. I helped co-found this initiative. I'm a true believer in a balanced way of life where privacy is respected. First of all, I do not think that today's world guarantees us that. And that led me to joining this initiative, or starting this initiative, or co-starting this initiative with a bunch of other people who are also passionate about this mission to preserve our right to privacy, our equal rights. It doesn't matter where we are in this world. And I'm hoping we as Mysterium team can add to this mission in a technological way, proposing a solution, fine-tuning that solution, making it useful, helping, make a better world. How cheesy that sounds, but that's actually our mission. Yeah? Word to you guys?
Yeah, Yaro, you want to jump in next?
Yeah, so I'm Yaro. Actually, on last AMA, I'm sorry, I should be there, but I had some injury. Everything is okay with my A, so I'm really happy about that. So I joined Mysterium, I would say 1.5 years ago, when we talked with Robertas about payments solutions, because I was working on various payments things, and I was into micropayments that time by consulting a couple of other companies. And Robertas shared that like it could be interesting to talk, and I've looked that actually Mysterium was the ideal place for me to share my knowledge and to implement the micropayment system. And after working on that in a half a year, or maybe after 8 months, I started to feel more and more about the main mission of Mysterium. Even if I was interested in finding the right, the right startup or company which would need exactly this micropayment thing, I understood that Mysterium is much more, and the mission of Mysterium to make an open and permissionless network for people to have access to the internet is really important, especially because back in 2001 or 2002, I was one of the people who was establishing open source for Lithuania movement. I was talking to the Lithuanian government about why open source is important, why free software. That time it was not obvious, you know. I remember in one meeting in Lithuanian parliament, we met some guys from Microsoft who went to visit and say that, oh, you should do some technological things by Microsoft, and we were saying, no, 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 it should be open standards. And guy was so joking about the open source. And then I told him, you know, I do believe that in 10 years, Microsoft will be the biggest open source company in the world. And actually, maybe it took not 10 years, but 15 years. But at the moment, Microsoft is one of the biggest open source companies in this planet. So yeah, that's about me.
So you guys know me, I've been with the project for about 2 years. I'm Sharmini. I have been working in the crypto space for a while, and I found Mysterium because open information sharing is something that matters a lot to me, especially coming from a country that doesn't really have that in terms of freedom of speech. So I'm really proud to be a part of this project, and it's something that's very close to my heart. My previous background was working in the fintech space, and then I found blockchain, you know, like 3 years ago, and I was like, wow, this is a whole new reality, and it's really an opportunity to reshape society on a fundamental level. So here we are combining privacy, blockchain, a couple of different new emerging technologies to hopefully create a framework that opens the internet for all. That's the plan. That's the dream.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
So I think that I see that there are some people watching us already, and there will be available videos. So we should start with the actual AMA, I do believe.
Yeah. That's
And let's move to the questions. Yeah.
Let's do that.
But I think that before the questions, I'd like to introduce our last blog post announcements, because maybe
Yep.
not everyone already is aware of what we announced, but actually Mysterium is going to release mainnet soon, and by soon it's not as soon as usual, but we mean that we are doing that right now. It will take us 3 stages. So there is a blog post where we stated our release process, but just to announce briefly, there will be stage 1, when on our current girly testnet we will be upgrading all the payment infrastructure, and one of the biggest change there is that we are going to use ERC 777 based token. So Mysterium is going to migrate MIST token, or upgrade MIST token from ERC 20 into ERC 777, because that will add a couple of really nice features. We can talk later about them. And there is a statement in the article why we are doing that. So please go to our blog, and there is explanations, but we will talk about that today, maybe more as well. So after this stage 1 will be done, the auditing of the payment system should be finished, and somewhere in the middle of August, we are going to release like parallel network to our current network, which I call BetaNet. Not all our current users will be moved there. It will be more like beta test for mainnet. It will not use MIST token yet, but it will be running on Mysterium on Ethereum mainnet, which is already a challenge, and we would like to test that with some smaller group of people. So while the whole payments, whole users and nodes will be running still on testnet, some of nodes could be moving to the mainnet, and some of users will be able to test that. And after we will be really confident that everything went well with BetaNet, so we would like to release in the beginning of September, or at least in the middle of September, the final stage, and migrate all the network into Mysterium mainnet, which will be using Ethereum mainnet. That would mean also that all clients, if they are not upgrading the software, they most probably will lose nodes, because all the nodes should be migrated into new mainnet. So that will be kind of network fork, but we do expect that it should be quite fast, and in a couple of weeks all the users will be migrated in happy path, and we do really try make to ensure that, especially with these 3 stages when we will try a couple of times. So I do believe that we will learn. So that's about what is coming in mainnet, and we already asked people about questions, and people asked a lot of questions on our AMA in Reddit. Yeah, Shermini, how many questions did we get there?
I mean, there were questions, and then there was just pure I don't know what. So, we've tried to distill some questions to address the community and to showcase actually what we're attempting to do in the next couple of months. So we had a lot of different questions around how we're doing tokens, etc. But we also had a couple of different pieces. So we're going to go through them one by one. Yeah, Yara?
Yeah, so let's go through them one by one. So we have 3 people who will be answering questions, and first we will be answering for questions from Reddit, which were asked until today's morning. If you're asking right now, most probably we will not see it. So please, new questions, ask in comments.
YouTube comments, yeah.
And each of us owning different areas. I'm owning product things, Shermini is owning marketing and communication things, and Robertus is owning the general strategy and token related things, tokenomics and all these related topics. So let's move forward, yeah?
Let's move forward, yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for this poem you wrote for me. Like, it's really, some people really cares, and they wrote me a lot of different messages. I think that you will understand that I am not going to answer and comment them, but big thank you for the love you gave for me personally. That means that I am doing something well, yes? Okay, let's move forward. And once again, sorry for those people who were asking questions and some other people were reacting strangely. It means that we are as community should move forward and grow a little bit in maybe being more polite to each other. From other hand, it's an anonymous community in which people can give what they think all out of them, Okay, so the first question. You have lost over 40% of nodes in last 6 months. You constantly and consistently release software without testing it. I think that I will address this question. So first of all, I don't feel that we are losing nodes. What I actually see, I see slight increase in nodes. So we see that some people are testing, and from 550, like in the beginning of this quarter, we have more than 600 nodes right now. Yes, maybe Sharmini, you could comment that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when we first came up with the node pilot for Mysterium Network, it was really to help battle test our software in the real world. We uncovered a lot of different things. We were testing first the node software, connectability, user experience, blah, 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 but we're also testing incentive mechanisms. And what we saw within our first 2 months of our node pilot last year is node runners running individual node farms, which is not exactly the best way to build a protocol focused on a democratic and censorship resistant internet for all. So there were some changes to our incentive mechanisms to try and bring this network into its more distributed state. And I think now we've hit sustainability. We're growing at organic ways. We're not going after node runners because we're still in pilot and research development stage, and our alpha testing pool is growing. You are them, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and actually for now, for us, biggest challenge is to acquire users. We do have like more than 15,000 monthly active users at the moment. But I do believe that with the mainnet release and more marketing, we should grow at least 10x.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Your Windows software does not work still even after the latest release. Every release something new gets broken. Yeah, that's a hard question you guys asking. But first of all, we are testing. We really tried to test. In the beginning, we were releasing really often, but then we understood that our user base is growing. So what we did, we started to release candidate versions for our Node software, and we are testing them for a couple of days. We are different people, and then we are releasing for the whole fleet. Unfortunately, it's still quite fast process because we are in testnet, and even after such procedures, we do have some bugs even after releasing main version. What we didn't do until now, we were releasing desktop applications really often, even with experimental Node versions, and we really are going forward to introduce the release candidate or something similar for desktop applications when everything will become more stable, and we really will be much more careful with releasing after mainnet release. So after mainnet will be live, there will be not incentivized testnet on which we will be running those test versions, and the releases will be slower. But we do expect there will be much more stable. From other hand, at the moment we are able to move faster. So really sorry for this inconvenience, but that's a choice we had to make to move faster than we would be moving with even slower testing procedures. So I think that it's acceptable on this stage. And according to Windows, it's not released yet, yeah? Like Shermini.
It's beta. Like, I mean, come on, guys. Yeah, it's beta. We are in beta testing. We haven't put it on our website yet. So this is our core community. We really hope that you will give us this feedback that's constructive, because it's so important for us to understand how it works in the real world. So it's in beta. Please test it before we promote it to larger audience.
Yes, we did one mistake. We put it everywhere that, hey, we have beta Windows, and people are reading, you have Windows. They don't see that it's a testing. And that's a mistake we should learn. And actually, thanks for this testing, we found really interesting setups in which software is not working. For example, there was problems for people with localized versions of Windows operating system, like French or Russian. But it was working for English versions well. So we were testing on English versions, but it was broken because of Kirillitsa or some other things in Windows. So really very sorry, but there are many setups in which we have to work while we are releasing software. It's not a website when everything is same for everyone and you can release each 20 seconds if you would like to. In our release process is slower. We have a lot of operating systems, network environments, and even the same Windows version but just different localization could make a change. So yeah, so I think that we can move forward. Yeah.
I want to pause here. I am while you're speaking, I'm sitting still and watching the comments, and in the comment sections regarding the nodes, there was one question which says, on the leaderboard, they see a decline in the nodes, and you show the graph with the previous question, not with the Windows version, where you see an increase in the nodes. Can you comment on this, Yaro? This would clarify that question.
I don't know what do people mean by leaderboard, because in leaderboard you see only 250 nodes. And maybe people are talking about decrease in income of those nodes, not in amount of nodes. That's one thing. Maybe they are talking about that like the global view. We have to recheck. Maybe there is some issue.
If we'll have a bit of, like, a more concrete question there, we'll try to answer.
Yeah.
So let's move forward then.
Questions at the end of the kind of flow that.
Yeah, it was just a connected question, so I didn't want to move too far away from that one. But yeah, let's move on.
Okay, next question. Most probably for you, Robertus.
Okay.
Node runners are at risk of exposing themselves. A mist runner even had a legal claim put against them in Germany for transmission of copyrighted materials.
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, we did have a connection, a person connected to us, telling about the claim. Well, the thing is, we're building a decentralized, permissionless network with its core functionality to retransmit data from a different location, from a different user. Tor is working in a similar fashion. It's pretty well documented that these types of cases are well known. They happen pretty frequently. You, as a node runner, must ensure that in your jurisdiction, what rights do you have to run something like a VPN node in your jurisdiction? We'll be posting more and more guidelines how to safeguard. Where can you run it? Where can you not run it? So that's pretty much it. We'll be working towards creating a more technical means to safeguard yourselves, but understanding the type of nature a node runner is getting into is also an important part, and it's a collaborative process here.
And I also would like to add some technical pieces. So technically, it's very hard to protect exit nodes while still having very good usability for consumers. And as Robert has mentioned, we will be putting some like similar as Tor doing for their exit nodes, but like some instructions or recommendations, because actually that node in Germany, as far as I understand, he won against a court. That was not his mistake, but unfortunately he had to cover some court expenses. But still, they were not able to blame him. So he won in the court. This cost him something. We will making these rules, but in addition to that, we while running this corporate like this test for corporate users called Super Proxy, we were also testing and researching on technology we call traffic slicing, and you see that, and you can use that as when you are checking whitelisting traffic only on your node. So what is happening then? You're saying for the network that you're able to accept only traffic which is going into certain domains. That's some media streaming websites, that could be like Amazon in Germany, or that could be Netflix in the United States, or something like that. And that's already there. The problem is that to make it user-friendly, so when somebody is browsing from Iran and he would like to browse and to read Wikipedia, if in your node you don't say that I'm streaming Wikipedia, he would be in trouble. He would be able only to, I don't know, buy on Amazon because you allow only Amazon. So we need much more advanced technology to ensure that people would be able to get that traffic. And one of the ideas is that we may be introducing something like entry nodes, which most probably would be nodes from some data centers or run by someone who don't who is not that afraid of exit traffic, because they have like legal protection, or they are in jurisdictions they don't care about such things, same as node exit Tor exit nodes. But in addition to that, consumer could be asking to drive traffic through them via some exit nodes for needed content. So for example, if you're watching Netflix, this entry node would check exit nodes who are able to show you Netflix in the United States and would drive you through there. And if you're just going to Wikipedia or some, I don't know, something else, it could exit by another node. So these entry nodes would have already tunnels with another nodes. That would be some kind of multi-hopping solution. And that could help for node runners to protect themselves. So they would say that I am allowing like this 1 million domains, but not more. But that's much more complicated topic.
Further along the line as well, I just want to clarify, like that's like a
yeah, like we will be preparing some videos for that, because that's a 1 year of development till that works well. I just say that we do care about exit nodes. We do spend time for that. We are doing research for that, and it's just very complex topic.
And it's also a very early stage still. We have been, as you might know, been building essential components of this network, like the node, like the payments, and we're tying them together. It's the network itself is still in a very early test phase. So we'll deal with most essential cases and issues once the core components are there. Until they are, it's pretty much a guesswork where to focus our energy. And still, I like to point out that we're not Google, we're a small team working here. So focus is really essential here.
Exactly. Should we keep moving?
Yes, next question. Which traffic type did the legal claim in Germany came from? The answer is that was all traffic. As far as I know, that was all traffic. That shouldn't be possible via whitelisted traffic. Next question. Will there be any limitation in which countries nodes can run on mainnet? The answer is no limitations.
Permissionless.
Like, you can run everywhere. If it works, it works. So
exactly, if it works is the real question, because some countries will definitely be trying to put limitations, technical ones, legal ones, all sorts of limitations, because it's very seldom that it's in the favor of the big powers. It's more in the favor of people on the ground, especially in not privileged areas of this world.
So that's a fight. We will be fighting this fight together with others, and like it's all the time. We will open something, they will try to close, then they will try to innovate and open again.
It's a cat and mouse game, yeah. Like, as in, there's two sides of technology fighting against each other, and like, so you're part of the open the internet side of it, you know, and that's what we're here and committed to doing.
Okay, so how about those special users used in last year's use case test?
So this one came up in our last AMA. I want to explain this a little bit more clearly. We ran a test to explore like how bandwidth sale would work in the VPN market last year. And this was just to test this particular business use case. It was not a long-term plan. It was just like, let's see if this works. And we tested with 3 different projects. We did not build automated reshuffling of nodes because we used rudimentary code to understand, okay, how does this technology that we have tie into that technology that they have and string it together so that there's actually a communication channel. So we did this with 3 projects, and then we saw that the margins didn't make sense for project sustainability given where we are today. And that's why we focused on the mainnet piece. That's why we're focused on our clients' applications. And it's not that we don't think about this use case, but we want to understand what the best stage is for the network at each step. And this was a test. Maybe we'll go back to it. We encourage you to build it.
It's a permissionless network, so basically anybody can build it. It's not just us. It was just us testing it. We cannot, again, I want to reiterate the same message here. We're a small team. We must choose and we must focus on one use case that we're working on at every moment. And currently that's client applications. They will run as an example of applications. Anybody can take the code, copy it, fork it, build their own implementations and so on. But yeah, that's what we decided to focus on, and stop focusing on that what Sharmini was talking about.
So just to wrap that point, like I would love to be able to say we can roll different nodes into this rudimentary code that we strung together, but that's going to take a lot of technological time, take focus away from our team for like getting peer-to-peer payments live on Ethereum mainnet. So that's why it's this current situation.
Next question. Project team members.
I just want to point out that we tried to aggregate questions. Some questions were repeating ones, and we're just having a tagline for each question, basically. If we saw copy questions, so that's what we're doing here. Me, Sharmini, and Yara. So
okay.
Yara.
So project team members want to remain anonymous. There was some comment on that about that. Sharmini, could you comment?
I mean, okay, look, like we're a privacy-centric anti-censorship protocol. So I don't know, I mean, I think it says it all. We're building this for people to access information, obviously against third-party people who are oppressing them. So if our contributors choose to want to remain anonymous, we are committed to keeping them safe. But if you look at our team page, you can see the people that are willing to show themselves. We're not about putting people's faces online, but you can see the GitHub, you can see, you can
like
see
I think that our team members are on that page.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't see the name, surname, and LinkedIn for every one of them,
Yes.
but you can see the GitHub. You can see quite like essential information about what person does, who is he, and most of them are even like totally Googleable and easily findable. Yeah, so we are not hiding. It's just like if someone don't want to put his photo, why would I push him to put his photo on website?
Yeah.
So let's move forward with our questions. Yeah. Will the price for the service be paid in MIST tokens? Yes. People, like we were watching for different options, but we never told that MIST will be not used as a payment. We were looking if it's possible to use anything else in addition because of some cool partnership. And what I want to say, MIST is used not only for payment. It's a first mean of payment in the network, but it's not only for that. Should we move forward?
Yes.
Very clear.
The payments will be in MIST tokens, and if the rate changes, how and who will equalize the volatile MIST price for using the VPN service so that for the end customer one remains at the same level in the USD. So as far as I understand, so you're concerned that if price going up and down, so how I know how much I will spend for VPN or how much I will earn? With earning, the answer is easier, because if you're earning in cryptocurrency, so any cryptocurrency can go like that. So even if that's ETH or even Bitcoin, you don't know. So the solution would be maybe to use stable coins for that, but that's
It's
from
17
the
hours.
from the consumer perspective. Oh, my lady just remind me that it's at 5 p.m. Uh, from consumer perspective, sure, people would like to have estimation on how much they will spend, but you know, like even if that would be in dollars, the price of exit nodes differs for each of them. So even for that, just price, it's still don't saying you for how long it will be enough. Maybe $1 will be enough for you for half a year, and maybe you will spend it in one day. That really depends on exit node and all the things. So what we are thinking to introduce in the future, to show for people some kind of projections, how much tokens would you need to top up for what kind of type of your usage. So when we will get some data or like something more, we will try to give projections. And also for exit nodes, there will be in the future possibility for them to say, make my pricing flexible, not just when I am saying by hands it's 1 token per gigabyte, but I say that it's 1 Bitcoin per terabyte, for example, yeah? And then you will be putting from where to get these rates. Most probably we will just use something like CoinMarketCap, and your node will be just pulling data from CoinMarketCap and will be converting into how much mist would you like to get for that traffic, and will send proposal to the discovery. And similarly, clients could do the same. So when you're doing filters, is it a cheap traffic, not cheap traffic, how to understand? You could also have connection with the same coin market cap and set filters. Don't show me nodes which are more expensive than 10 cents per gigabyte. So that will be introduced, maybe not in the very moment of the launch, but that will be introduced this year for sure. Is it possible for provider to set fixed cost in dollar? I already answered that. And if so, who provides the exchange rate? So as I said, it should be up to consumer and to provider to decide where to get this exchange rate. We as a platform should not push that. We can recommend. So we will put the config, we will add default values, most probably CoinMarketCap. Maybe in the future, like I'm doing some research how to make integration with one or another DEX inside our Hermes protocol in 2.0 version of Hermes. But that will be not earlier than somewhere end of next year or something like that, with all the developments which are happening now with DeFi, with decentralized protocols, with everything. So for us, it's much more important for now concentrate on getting real usage. Next question. Or would you like to add, guys, something to the previous one?
I think you're going great.
Okay.
Great.
Any plans for Mist token staking system to stimulate HODL? Robert.
We definitely understand the value of such solutions, and we're thinking about them. There are multiple options, multiple pathways we can take to use staking within Mysterium. For example, staking by the node, staking by the Hermes runner, which are going to happen. and various other ways. So short answer, yes. Long answer, probably not going to be a very long one, but it's not going to be an instantaneous solution. Some things are going to be in this release. Some things will come later. Yeah, that's
maybe to sum up, I would like to say that some staking is already here, as Robert has
exactly.
mentioned. So each Hermes hub, which will be introduced in the network, it could, like, for sure we will be running one for the beginning. But if someone would like to run another hub, which is similar to payment hubs in Lightning Network and other networks, they will have to stake a lot of mist. And by a lot of, I mean a lot of. It should be not 1,000, because otherwise there are some vectors of attack by creating too many hubs in the networks. We would like to have balanced network of these master nodes or hubs. It should, like, I would expect that good network has like 10 or 20 of them, but having like 1,000 would be too much. So they will be staking. Also, node runners, because of payment channels and because we wanted instant withdrawals in payment channels, which are not usually the case in such payments, but we added this possibility. So node runners will have to stake something just to ensure the amount of their payment channel. What is amount of payment channel? That's a guaranteed money which are already freezed on blockchain for your withdrawal. So whenever you click button with send me money, they are already collected and freezed on the blockchain. Because collecting them from different consumers, it will take time. Just imagine that one node is providing services for 1,000 different consumers, and some of them will pay $20 in a week. Some of them will pay 2 cents in a week. So for those who are, and Hermes will be accumulating all of those payments into one big chunk. And if someone just paid 2 cents, Hermes will be waiting. Maybe that the same user will pay for another node runner 2 cents and for a third one, and will accumulate all of those 10 cents, and then we'll do transaction on blockchain. But in the end, Hermes' job is to balance everything, and and by this balancing, he will be ensuring that in the blockchain there is some stake. This is channel amount which is already freezed for you. So whenever node runner would like to withdrawal, he will do that. So if you staking $1 in Mist, you will have to do transactions to blockchain each time you earn $1. Not like now we are paying once in a month, and if you have $50, you will get $50. But in the like mainnet release, you will be able to get payouts whenever you want, but you will have to make payouts if your payment channel is full. So by staking more, you will be able to save on transaction fees on Ethereum mainnet. By staking less, you will be paying more for Ethereum. Another thing is that in the future, as Robert has said, which is in research, it's not in this release, we for sure are looking for possibilities for those who are staking more to somehow get more traffic. That's a little bit mathematical trick how to ensure that. So maybe we will do some tests later, maybe next year. But for now, at least some staking will be there. And we will have registration fee in the network. We are still in discussions how and what is this, but just to tease you that this fee is also kind of staking, burning or something like that. Why we do have registration fee? Because maybe not all of you understands that when mainnet will start, people will start creating registering their identities on blockchain. If they would not need to do that, they could do any kind of attacks on our network or via our network. But if they will have to make this payment or like this skin in the game just so creating new identity costs you money. It should stop the DOS type of attacks and other vectors of attacks to our network and via our network. That's why we will be introducing something like that. It will be small fee, one-time fee, but it should protect from those who would like to create 1 million identities. It will be very expensive for them. So I think, would you like to add something, Robertus, to that, or we are moving forward?
Yep, I'm fine.
Sorry, maybe I was talking complicated things. I am the one who is talking complicated things. And Sharmini, if something, you can simplify my language, please.
I think you've done a good job. I want to direct everyone to the blog post that we actually wrote, because it is complicated things. Like, we are doing very technical things. We're network working, so we have documented it. We've written use cases so you understand exactly how staking will work for nodes in these documents. So read it, understand it, ask questions in Discord, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, next question. How do you feel about the idea of settling a fixed percentage, about 5% of coin, burning in the protocol?
It's an interesting idea. That's all I feel about it.
Well, it's an interesting idea, guys. Well, we've talked about different ways in which we will move the network forward. So there are a lot of things that we're thinking about. We're super open to suggestions, but can't do everything in one day.
But I think that we maybe should say that, to be honest, it's not very realistic. It never was planned that we are going to burn 5%, exactly 5%, because it will boost our price or something. Maybe there is inside that idea, but it's
not our vibe.
It's I mean, we should think about value for the network, and I even don't think that it will be value for traders.
When we think about the network, we really think about resilience for the network, how to bring skin into the game in the network, how this token can function as a utility token that actually does this and brings the value of the network up through its use. So we're super open to ideas around that, and we'll keep this discussion open on Discord. Let us know what you think. We have a payments channel. Yaro's always there.
Okay, move forward. Not always.
It needs to work sometime.
Will be a subscription-based model, for example, 99 MIST per month unlimited, or VPN consumer volume-based model, 99 MIST for 10 gigabytes VPN bandwidth. I will add something technically, and then Sharmini maybe add something from different angle. So first of all, when we were constructing Hermes protocol, it was made for pay-as-you-go type of payments. It's not, we don't have built-in a subscription-based model in the network. And to be honest, with such type of service as this, it would be extremely hard, because if person is paying to the front, nodes could disappear. If nodes are waiting and giving traffic for person to pay later, person can disappear, like consumer. It's really complicated game how to do that. There are various techniques some people are trying, but actually my internal belief is that many subscription models was introduced just because pay-as-you-go is not really easy to implement on internet. In the beginning of 2000, there was even commission on Web3 consortium about micropayments. So you could drive via websites and by paying super small amounts for what you're reading. But they understood that they don't have technology for that at that time. And because they didn't have technology, everything moved like to ads or to subscriptions, because there was no option at that time. And if you will look on like mobile traffic, how they began with everything, they were accounting pay-as-you-go model. in the beginning, because that's how they pay, and everything is like in that model. And actually, it could be even cheaper. But I think that Sharmini could add something from this different research angle.
So I think the subscription piece, like we've looked at the VPN industry, and this is very much one of the elements that we think we stand apart with. Pay as you go allows us to target different markets, which the subscription fee of $99 actually locks out. You know, it's a lot of money for a lot of different people who actually need Mysterium and actually need this kind of service. And we're hoping that with this pay as you go value proposition, our target markets will resonate with this, and we can provide this service to people who can't use a traditional VPN or are using a free VPN and being exploited. So here we are to try and offer an actual solution to these markets where they can pay as you go if they care about their privacy, and then and see what happens. So that's one of the things we'll be testing in different markets coming mainnets once we have peer-to-peer payments on Ethereum mainnet.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to add here that subscription model usually means there is a high margin there in the service. Like the cost of the service is really low, and you put on top your own margin, and you get the subscription. You pay for the services, let's say $10 for 100 users, but you take from those 100 users $100, so $9 is your margin. With Mysterium, what we're doing is we're building a network where you would get a service basically on its cost, and that service is then packaged, can be packaged to be resold in bulk to the bigger use cases. We're just starting with the end user applications, but essentially it's an open and permissionless network. Anybody can write various types of applications, use API and so on. So this opens up a much broader scope of use for such a network.
And by the way,
exactly this type of payment.
By the way, there is possible to pay in subscription way on by using Mysterium network. We already have one VPN which does that. I got some messages from another team a month ago, but I have to recheck if they are still working on that, who wanted to introduce something similar as well by adding more privacy. I don't know how they would do that, but they were thinking if it's possible to mesh even payments things, so everything would be paid from one wallet. And yeah, so you can pay even in dollars in subscription way by using, for example, Portal's VPN. And I do hope we will have more such solutions. But the core protocol is pay as you go.
Yep. Just like you can't expect Ethereum to work in a subscription way.
Yeah, would be cool. Yeah, you're making subscriptions for Ethereum transactions for gas price. Okay, next question. How will you deal with the volatility of the token? Who would like to answer?
This is a tough one. We'll be testing internally with various volumes. We'll start slow. Currently we're on HIT BTC. We'll stay there for a while. It's a strategic step. We'll be following, we'll be growing gradually the volumes. And as we gradually introduce mainnet and more users start using it, more and more people will need to acquire tokens and sell them back into the market. Natural flow of transactions will start to grow. This remains to be seen. How will this affect volatility of the token? Also, we'll be working with various payment solutions like Changelog to help us smoothen out transition from Mist token into any other token in the further future, even ideally into the fiat, and vice versa, from fiat into Mist token. And only when those things have been understood, solidified, we can expand into greater number of exchanges with our efforts. Any exchange can add us anytime they want, but I mean, with our efforts.
So I think that you're covering two questions already, because there was another question about exchanges.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Because the volatility of token is that price is jumping. We already talked a little bit about that. But actually the pricing in the network, because like why I didn't wanted to introduce, like I was the one who told that let's not have this feature now of having price based on dollars. Why? Because that will also stabilize a little bit network, because people will value how much, like if they think that Mist token is $1, they will value that they would like for 1 gigabyte, for example, 0.1 Mist. And because they are ready to hodl until that price or something like that. And that will be like a message for traders as well, how traders are valuing the traffic in the network. Yeah. So maybe we will have some graphs of medium pricing in any region, like how much in average it costs in United States, in France, in China, and Russia. Yeah? And that's also an instrument for traders how to evaluate token. Also, there will be different like staking mechanisms, so people will try to stabilize the price. It will be super jumping in the beginning, but you like for consumer, he's paying for Mist in the moment he's buying the Mist, so he knows the price of Mist. If he pays now, it's like 6 cents. So for him, each Mist until he will spend all that Mist, it's a 6 cents. And when he next try will buy, he will be like he will know the price already. So it's more the price for node runners and how they are valuing. And if they would like to stabilize it, they could settle more often into different currency. There will be even possibility maybe to on-chain settlement, not just by Mist token moving to your wallet, but moving it through some kind of mini DEX, I called it. So DEX which will be converting from Mist to some, for Ethereum, for example, or stablecoin.
Like we will have a blog post on this explaining exactly.
We will talk about that separately. But I mean, so that's one part of volatility. Another part of volatility is, as Robert has already touched, it's being on many exchanges, yeah. And to be honest, it's better to get volume first. So introduce mainnet, because then exchanges are more happy. They see that it's something happening, something growing. It's really hard to talk with top-notch exchanges when you don't have working product, because of many reasons.
So it's a chicken and egg problem. So we've decided to start with a product and then tackle this.
But we're really thinking about the next step.
Exactly.
Next question: What is the value what is the value of the token? I think that we already covered that.
So why Ethereum is used and why do we need Mist token? I think it's been talked for. Yaro has been touching these points. I'll just briefly touch. We have had our pilot programs. These have been just designed to battle test our network, our node, our payment process, all sorts of elements which are tied to the service. And to simplify, we've chosen to pay in ETH. But this is not going to be the case once we transition into mainnet. That's why essentially Mist will be needed to fuel this. that's a short answer. If Yaro likes longer answers. If you want to, if I missed something, please.
I would like also, I see that people are chatting about the expensive exchanges, expensive market making.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like us to spend money just to be on some exchange, and as many already seen that you're going to Binance and value of token even dropping?
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
why do you expect that value will go up if you're just listed on Binance? You need a strong message. You need a strong something, yeah, and then value goes up because people believe in the story, in something. So it's better to prepare strong story and then go somewhere, because we could spend that money, but we would not have money for developing product.
The network, but actually building the network and having a
that's what we
working
should be doing, not paying lots of money for listing, when actually this listing even will not help for those who have tokens, because value will most probably just drop.
Let's stay on track, guys.
Yeah, so I think that because
we can get carried away.
Yeah.
By this topic.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
All right. So the
Next question.
One,
are you planning to launch something like DAO to share responsibility and protocol development management? Or is a corporative venture model closer to the project?
Well, let me start, and then I believe we'll get into a discussion as usual. So with DAO, it hasn't evaded our eyes. Definitely, we've been in multiple discussions on to how to best transition into DAO model. Eventually, I want to point out eventually, because right now, as I've pointed, we are committed towards creating a working network built of core components, which compose that network, and will need fast reaction toward adapting certain elements. Payments don't work here, then they need to switch to this. Net reversal doesn't work here, so we need to reshuffle something and so on. With DAO model, it's a different stage of evolution. Once we get to that, network is working and stable, and now we're in a mode where we know these things are working, and we need to represent the broadest possible scope of stakeholders. That's when it's time to transition into this DAO model. At this stage, it would be, we don't see, at least not us, we don't see how we can do this now. But eventually, yes, we're interested. We would love to. It's just that one of the questions to be tackled a little bit later.
Actually, most of products, even those who have in white paper stated that it will be like DAO type of management, for example, Polkadot network, they are still did a lot of and still doing a lot of in this controlled environment, because you're still working on technology, and only when it's stable you can do something.
It still needs rapid adaptation towards changes. Let's be honest, this whole infrastructure, this whole technology, this whole sector is still in its early stages, and we need this fast reaction. DAO will not make it faster, that's for sure. It will make it more resilient. Yes, agreed. Yeah. So basically, my answer is I do not see it today. I see it in a later stage. And yes, I definitely see it in a later stage.
Cool.
Richard has spoken. Do you want to chat a little bit about corporate ventures as well, or?
DAO is not mutually exclusive. We can and probably should experiment with various corporate venture type of initiatives, like we did with this experiment. Basically, the idea is to build value-driven services and products which drive traffic, because lifeblood of this network will eventually be traffic, and who better than us see the initial opportunities and to build on top of those opportunities and to grow this network. But eventually, we of course see many others experimenting with this technology and integrating it into their products and services. But of course, we are not excluded from that. So you can bet that we will be looking for ways to improve and for ways to increase traffic. But again, I want to stress that first essential components must be there. They're not yet.
Absolutely.
Next question.
So I
When
think
will
I'm
the
so-
marketing start?
Guys, this is marketing. This is marketing. Communicating with you guys is marketing. Blog posts are marketing. We haven't. I think let me reframe this question. The question I think you're asking is, when will we start driving users into the network? And for this, I'm very clear, and this is my stance. Like after stage 3 and peer-to-peer payments are live, all the taps we're waiting, we have the ads, we have the translations, we're waiting for the product to get there and be resilient, and then we will go to market in 4 different regions. We are going to understand that several different messages, and basically the main goal for the next couple of months after mainnet, stage 3 mainnet to be very specific, is to understand the user who needs Mysterium most, and also the user that will use crypto to access privacy and information. So we're looking at 4 different regions, testing localized content and ads once we are ready on a product level. So that answers your question on when will marketing start. Now I can tell you about marketing plans. What are we going to do to attract a bigger audience? We have a couple of different programs that will kick off after mainnet, after stage 3, when peer-to-peer payments are battle tested, and you guys have helped us test it, and we're all happy as a community to move forward. We will have a referral program that we will need help testing, and this will basically, from our research, this is one of the quickest ways to scale, kind of looking at like a Revolut model of like give 5, get 5 to onboard friends and family, so referral system will come into play. Then we've also got an influencer program. We've got some big names. I don't want to name drop yet, but in the next couple of weeks, I will be letting you know which giant crypto influencers we will be speaking to about, and we'll be reviewing our software once it's live, which is very exciting for us. It's been a long time coming. And we're working on, also additionally, we're working on an industry report on censorship. So this is taking from data from our surveys to the industry, basically what's happened this year and how the VPN market's moving, and lessons learned from the mainnet. And we're looking to grow our press relations with this by sharing actual information on the crypto-based network, crypto-based incentivized VPN network. And finally, like I mentioned, the performance tests, we have an ad budget to go to market in 4 different regions, and we will understand then which market we go to more seriously. I wanted to also like really sum up. I was supposed to talk about this earlier, but I skipped. I don't know why, for some reason. The few key achievements that we have achieved within the project, like we have got like more than 15,000 monthly active users. We've got 600 plus nodes globally, 40 plus countries with nodes, and especially NAT improvement, which is a bit geeky, but disconnections have dropped 80% to less than 20% for all you guys having issues with disconnected nodes. In the last 6 months, we've dropped disconnection from 80% to 20%. This has been a huge, huge achievement from our tech team. And thank you so much for everyone, all the developers working on this. I know it's challenging and bug fixing. So guys, like as alpha testers, thank you for your feedback as well. I just thought I'd give you some achievements alongside with our marketing plan.
Good.
I think we can move, unless anybody, like, I mean, we can take questions
Yes,
later.
we can move. And the next question was about exchanges. We have covered that.
I think we did.
I think we've covered exchanges. And I guess the final thing is how you reach the team. I guess one of the things I saw in the Reddit posts is people felt they couldn't reach the team. Please reach us. Discord is where you find us. The link is in the description below. You can find it on our website. Talk to us. There are different channels for different stakeholders in the network. And we're always here to answer your questions. We're a small team, but we will answer your questions. Yaro replies at 3 a.m. in the morning.
It's not for everyone 3 a.m., you know, like it's like for some it's lunchtime.
3 a.m.
Yaro it is.
All right. I think we have a couple of questions as well
From the chat, yeah.
the chat. When will a user be able to find our nodes again? We get no users, less traffic on the nodes anymore. So this is from Icon Compute.
Do you see the list of questions, Sharmini?
Yeah,
Could you read
on
that?
It's on the bottom.
It's at the bottom. Keep scrolling. Document. We have a system here, guys.
Otherwise, it would be impossible.
Could you lead that, Sharmini, please? Read and lead that.
So the question is, when will users be able to find our nodes again? We get no users or less traffic within the nodes. This is Icon Computing.
Yaro, I think it's best if you answer
I think
this.
you're the best person to answer.
So
this
could you again read the question?
Yaro, you've been reading questions we haven't been seeing.
Yeah.
When will users be able to find our nodes again? And how come they can't get traffic on these
Okay,
nodes?
the question is, I still don't I don't think that question is correct. That's why I wanted to read it twice. People are able to find your node if the node is configured correctly and is sending proposals to the discovery service. On the desktop app, for example, people by default don't see very expensive proposals. So maybe that's the reason, because you set price so high. Also, people by default don't see those nodes which configured not correctly, which when our monitoring agent is trying to connect to the node and connection is failing. And also on desktop app, people don't see nodes with whitelisted traffic because of previously described problem. If somebody would connect to your node, he would be able to see like only couple of like exit destinations. Even if we would allow you to add those exit destinations and you would add like 1 million of them, that would be still so little comparing to how many domains and services there are on internet, so it would be still pure traffic. So if you are running whitelisted traffic, only those partners who are using nodes are able to find you. How they finding you? They are once in a while they are filtering a list of nodes in needed region, for example Germany or United States, residential nodes, to which has good bandwidth and good price, and they are choosing, for example, like 20 or 50 pool, and then in that pool connections are randomized and it's going through one and another. But if the admin of that service didn't choose your node because of any reason he decides, or because the node is too slow, or because it was not online that time and next time he's changing the pool, it will be in a month. So some people, for example, had a traffic in April but didn't have traffic in May. Maybe because they shifted, maybe because your node were blocked by some service they needed. There are many reasons, but it's not really something like, oh, please make my node discoverable, or could you talk to those people who are using our service so you would use our node. It would be hard to do that, but what else I would need to say? We do have like 5 to 8% of traffic which is going via whitelisted nodes. It's only 5 to 8% of traffic. So if you're on whitelisted traffic, that's by design you're getting much less connections. And if you're getting that, the connection will be most probably big one, like for a day, for a lot of data, but it will be not a lot of them. If you're on all traffic, you're risking more, but your reward could be bigger. So I think that I, as usual, answered with a lot of words.
Yaro, I would like to add here, and for Icon Computing and for anybody else who is listening, please keep in mind that we are not getting your questions in real time on YouTube. There is about 15-second lag, so you see us 15 seconds in the past, basically. Icon just posted a couple questions while you were speaking, Yaro. For example, the option to set the prices grayed out. His connections are working perfect, but he can't set the prices. And then no, they're not. But I don't
please,
have a clue.
please, with those technical,
I can comment it.
With those technical questions, please.
Let's talk on Discord. Let's talk on Discord.
Help at Mysterium Network. Like there are various of channels to how to go get help. We always have someone in our working hours at least who will try to help you to set up correctly to answer the questions. So that's more for that flow.
Okay, let's move to the next question. We have, what is the remaining runway you have left before mainnet? How many months in terms of funding left? Monthly cash burn divided by funds raised through ICO. I'll let Robertus take this one.
Okay. Well, first of all, not prepared to talk financials. I would need to take a better look. But in general, if we stick to our current burn, it's at least a couple of years. But that probably won't be true once we go mainnet, because there will be some new expenses to what's the word? To account for, yeah. Which are not yet fully known, all of them. So we'll need to discover once we go there. We'll be as vigilant and diligent with our funding as we can, keeping it lean yet efficient. It's always a struggle. So yeah, basically that's the answer.
The next question is, my question is this from Dave Nichols. Why would anyone choose to pay for Mysterium VPN when there are free services such as VPN Gate? I can tell you, I said this earlier as well, in a kind of a joke fashion as to like, yes, you can use a free VPN, but when something is free, you are the product. So this is where we come from on the ethos of owning your privacy, paying for what you use, and making it more accessible. But Robertus, I'm sure you can answer this.
I would love to. Yeah. Well, basically, these services, they definitely cost something. Somebody's running a node. They're paying for the electricity, the bandwidth, and they probably have found a way to monetize this. Otherwise, you won't be using a free VPN if that didn't happen, unless somebody is doing it out of charity, which might happen, but unlikely. What are the ways to monetize? Probably monitoring your traffic, selling, analyzing that traffic. It's really hard to say. Maybe monetizing on your device, which is using a VPN, and then becoming a VPN node without paying you, and so on. So there probably are many ways to monetize a free VPN, and it's happening. Let's be honest. And in our case, we want to make it completely transparent. It costs, and if there are people willing to pay for that cost, probably it's gonna settle at a pretty low price. Eventually, in the beginning, of course, it's all in the node runner's hands. It will fluctuate for a while, but eventually the price will settle. Of course, there will be regional differences, like traffic from Middle Africa will probably cost differently than traffic from Germany and UK and I don't know, Switzerland.
You mean traffic via Germany, yeah? Via
Yes,
UK.
yes. Via. So yeah, it's something to learn, and also let me reiterate once again that this network is being built also with the mind to use it in a bulk for various entities utilizing this type of technology of location shifting and paying for stable traffic. So yeah, there are many use cases.
Perfect. And I think the last question that I have on my list is, what should be my minimum upload speed to start being a node?
We are recommending to have at least 5 megabits per second link. On mainnet there will be no limitations, but our quality oracles will be also checking your speed and will be showing the speed for end users. So if you will be very slow, most probably you should be very cheap. So that's the answer.
All right, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that here is all. And
yeah.
Should I stop?
Yeah, I guess
it's been slow to start, but eventually we did it. Thank you all for the patience and taking the time to join us or watch us later. I hope this answers some of your questions. I think we can repeatedly do something like that after more questions accrue. We're happy to do it. We're learning by doing this. It's not our first venture to be video streamers, but we're learning. And yeah, I'm happy we did it.
Thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you all soon in our next AMA.
Stop. Brandon says, yes, ignore my question. Could you repeat that question, Brandon?
Sorry, Brandon.
I will wait for it for 20 seconds.
It doesn't fit your narrative, he says. That's how long it takes us, Brandon, to see your questions.
Yeah. We're waiting for I think I scroll up and I see Brendan's question being.
Okay. Please read it.
I think this is get ready for the nodes to drop more than 40% in when you implement node running staking. We are a centralized, decentralized. I mean, I don't know whether there's a question there, Brendan.
Okay, I can say.
I don't know if there's a question there.
Guys, first of all, you can start with zero stake. And just Hermes protocol will take a little bit from each your settlement until it will reach something like 10 or 12 MIST at this price range. It will be adapting that to something like $1 of minimal stake. So it will be something which will be invisible for you. So you can start with zero stake. And if you will decide to stop servicing service, you can always withdraw that stake in the last transaction of the network. So I don't think that will should be big impact on node runners for those who would like to have zero stake in the beginning.
Also, all of this, again, to repeat myself, explained in the Mysterium Mist and token migration blog and in our mainnet launch plan. Two very important pieces of content to look at from us to understand exactly how we're going to transition as a network. I think we've addressed all the questions. I think we should end on a strong note. So thank you so much for your time, guys. We really appreciate you being here, and I guess we sign off.